All right, so I'm here with Cody up in Alberta. So we're basically just talking about the skinning process and hopefully to give you guys a little bit of information, talking about the cuts that you make, and then we'll work out to the paw and explain how you can get the paw off with all the meat, or the meat and the bone still inside attached to the hide.
When you make your first cuts, you'll start at the base of the paw and you follow that wingspan all the way down, make a nice corner, not like with your deer where you follow them down. When you go across the chest here, it'll be good for all different types of mounts, anything from your rug to your full life size. Make your lines meet up in the middle, and you make your center cut all the way down and just make everything all line up and even like that. Then you just start peeling your hide off. Once you get down towards the base of the paw and the wrist area, and you can go down basically to where the pad meets the fur, skin it down to there, and then you'll get around the knuckle or your wrist joint and be able to cut through there, and then that'll take and leave your paw to come off like this, and that's generally where most people will leave it to take to their taxidermist or tannery, and then they'll take it from there, taking the rest of the hand out, taking all the fingers out of the paw and everything like that.
What's happening, Huntling community? I just recently returned from an incredible black bear hunt up in Alberta, Canada with Josh Greer from Arken Optics. If you are unfamiliar with Arken, they are the optics sponsor inside the Apex Predator League and one of the 2023 Huntley Gear of the Year winners with their EPL4 scope that has every feature that you would expect in a scope, costing 3 to 4 times this price. It was voted the absolute best value scope last year, and somehow Arken just dropped the price another $50. So if you're in the market for a value-packed first focal plane hunting scope in a lightweight package, save yourself hundreds of dollars and pick up the EPL4 at ArkenOpticsUSA.com. All right, let's dive into this how-to video and show you how to skin out what is arguably the most intimidating part of the bear, the paws. Now, am I an expert? Gosh, no. I've only skinned one bear and it was a total disaster. But you are in luck, as my buddy,
My name is Cody.
the bear skinner this year at Sherwood Outfitters, he has skinned out over 500 bears. I bet in just the month of May, he skinned close to 50 bears, as I know he skinned out 11 bears in just the short time that we were up there with him. Josh and I showed up at the skinning pole just to capture some B-roll footage for the story. But it was here at the skinning pole that we learned a lot about the meat, Canadian law related to bears, worms and parasites inside the meat, and how to properly remove the hide to prepare it for tanning or making a bear rug. So if you plan to hunt bears in the future and preserve the hide, watch this master at work. You may not have the luxury of having a big table in the field with you, but after watching Cody attack bear after bear solo, I would recommend having some paracord, hide lock from Velvet Antler Technologies, table salt, a cheap caping knife that can easily be sharpened, a sharpening rod or tool, and a replaceable blade knife like the one he used from Outdoor Edge or the new Hogue Hunting XPEL knife. The replaceable blade knives, they are perfect for the initial work as you make straight cuts from paw to paw and chest down to the tail. Cody didn't need a $300 fancy knife to do the trick. His preferred tool was the super cheap, flexible, not particularly sharp, short skinning knife, somewhat like this one that you'll find on Amazon for around 20 bucks. Now that you see some of the tools you should have on hand, let's dive in and watch the master at work.
You want to hop in here? I got some stuff to learn. Listen in, bro. Listen in. Check this out. We're in Alberta, Canada.
Yep.
This is the skinning room.
Yep.
What are the laws in Alberta, Canada when you shoot a bear?
The only real thing that you're legally required to do is just take your hide back with you guys when you go across.
Yeah.
Or get something done with it because it's a fur-bearing animal.
All right, so we were looking in at this bear and we saw some worms and stuff like that. And I asked you, man, how does the meat taste?
It tastes like the bait smells. They just don't taste great and they're all just full of worms.
Me coming here, I had like the opposite intent of like, I can't wait to get the bear meat home. I was gonna can it and do all this stuff with it.
Yeah, lots of times like only the maggots will eat them, not even other bears or wolves or coyotes.
Like, so nothing really eats the bears.
No, maggots and humans, that's about it.
That's crazy, because that's like a possum. Nothing will eat a possum.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Alberta law, though, this is treated as a fur-bearing animal.
Yeah, you can't let your hide go to waste, because that's against the law.
So this bear was taken last night.
Yeah.
How fast do you have to get the hide off before you deal with hair slippage? Or with bears, is their hair a little bit more resilient?
Main factors are just heat wise. Like, we've had a fairly cool last couple weeks, so you're not really super worried, especially when you get in down to them low temperatures, like just above 30 kind of deal into the mid 30s. So
Yeah.
it drops down and it just gets that hide really nice and cool. But if it's super hot, like you get up in towards 60, something like that, you really have to get that hide off quick. The bears hold so much heat, like, well, especially if you get a bigger boar, they're through their neck and in their back, like right along the spine. It just holds so much heat in there. And for example, like say a guy leaves them on his back overnight, that whole area from the top of his head down to his spine, there's a good chance that it'll start slipping because all that heat just goes straight to there. When you throw them on their bellies, it lets a lot of that heat dissipate from their back because there's not as much meat or anything down there. That's why, like, when you see them on the bikes, most times we have them on their bellies or on their sides. Especially when we have bigger bears, like on the side-by-sides and everything, too. We'll try and get them up and around so that they have airflow underneath of them. Just one less layer in between them and letting that heat escape from them.
If you're going to save the hide, is it better to get a fall bear or spring bear?
I prefer the spring bears. They just have a nicer coat. Like, they still have their full winter coat. Their skin is a lot more dense. They have a lot more of it there. Like, if you look at this one, you can see like lots of the hairs are still underneath, and you're not really getting lots of them follicles popping up to the top of them. Whereas all your fall bear is going to look a lot where you have follicles right on the top of your skin. And that's when you're more prone to having issues, because it's also generally a lot hotter in the fall too.
Does their hide get pretty roughed up going into this mating season?
You'll notice on the sows a lot of times they'll get rubbed up in the rear ends. That's just from repeated use by boars and stuff like that. But the main thing that you're going to see is them actually just rubbing off their winter coats because it's just getting so hot that they're just trying to dissipate. And it's hot for them too, so they're just trying to get cool. Now it's getting towards the part of the season where it's starting to get super warm during the day, so a lot more of the bears are going to start rubbing, especially your little bears.
I'm used to just judging bears by weight, which I was thinking she's close to 200. What, 4.5 feet?
She'd be closer to that 6 foot, a little bit better than 6 foot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the way that we measure them is we'll take the measurement from after they get off the body, because everything's all scrunched together. You measure them laying down. Their measurement from nose to tail and paw to paw. And it's the mean average from both of those.
It's the same thing for measuring a skull, too. It's from tip to the
to
back
Yeah.
and side to side.
Furthest part of your front tooth to the furthest part of your back fin, and then the widest part of your cheekbones.
What is considered a trophy bear for this area? Like, does it have to do with the feet? Is that I hear more people talking about it's a 6 foot or 7 foot bear.
That's the actual only thing that makes it a trophy is your skull size up here.
Yeah.
Lots of times what the clients will talk about is the size of the bears. That's just bragging rights, more or less, just see how your bear was. Because up here we have a few different types of bears. We have like really big and broad, stocky bears that aren't very big. Like, they have short little legs. They look like a barrel. And then we have other bears that are super long. They look like an athlete, big long legs, long body. And you can have two bears that look nothing alike. Like, one looks like a toad and the other one just looks like a younger bear kind of deal. They can measure up the same, like within a couple eighths of the skull and within a couple inches of hide measurement as well.
Yeah.
Bears are one of the hardest animals to judge, especially on the leg. They just so many moving parts. They don't give you a good look at their head. Lots of times they'll have big meaty heads too, where their meat literally grows above their skull.
Above and around.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about with the big creases.
Or thinking like, man, this is going to measure really big, but really when it comes down to the skull, it's not necessarily an indication of how large the skull is.
Yeah, yes and no. Generally, when you have them big meatier heads, that's the animals you're wanting to shoot. They're bigger, they're older, they just have that time and they have that growth time. It really just depends on genetics. Some bears have short faces, short and wide. Some are long and wide. It all really depends on a lot of different things.
Very cool. And this is a polar bear, right?
Yeah. I wish. That'd be a lot cooler than these black bears.
Polar bear with a tan.
I mean, I do a lot of bear hunting, and this is obviously a polar bear. What is your process when you do this? So you're starting. You start at the butt, and then you work your way up and take the paws off to get to this. Is this being done as a rug?
This is just being skinned out right now. I haven't talked to the client on what he's doing with it. I start from my base measurement or my base cuts and go across the wingspan, down the neck all the way through, get down the legs and everything, and just start peeling them off, working your way around, getting everything done as much as possible. Their claws are so dirty and just so full of infection and everything. You get a little bit of a nick. Kyle got one last year.
Oh, did it?
Right on his leg, and it just infection right away. Just from like not even a bear attacking. Like we were loading a bear up, paw slip, went through his jeans, and he got a good, didn't break skin, but it was definitely
Really?
nice and red, yeah.
Well, man, appreciate you talking about the process.
Yeah, of course.
All right, at this point, we're just going to let the music play and watch Cody do his thing. We'll start with the easy stuff, which is simply removing the skin from the body of the bear. As you do this, you're just trying to avoid having any meat left on the hide and cut at an angle where you won't cut into the hide, creating additional work and stitching if you were to have it made into a rug or full body mount. In a second, Cody will start removing the hide, pads, and claws from the foot itself. You will see how he cuts a C shape around the pad, opening things up, removing the hide from the top of the foot while making a nice clean line around the pad and keeping the claws intact. Oftentimes, this job is left for the taxidermist, but if you're attempting to do this yourself, watch closely as Cody removes the foot and separates it from the hide and claws. You may want to pay close attention right here as Cody begins to remove the individual toes. You can see that he is not cutting at the first knuckle, but he's going down to the second joint and separating it there, trying to avoid making any cuts through the hide itself as he methodically works around each individual toe. As I stated earlier, I have only skinned out one bear myself. My 11-year-old son shot his first bear in Oregon in 2022, and all I was thinking about at that time was the meat. What can I say? I'm a meat hunter. After I'd already removed the head and paws, my son asked if we could make a rug with it. My heart instantly sunk as I wasn't even thinking about saving the hide when I started processing the animal. Needless to say, it would have been a Frankenstein rug requiring stitching everywhere to patch it back together. This bear hunt in Canada with Josh from Arken Optics and the team at Sherwood Outfitters has been amazing. I learned so much about bear hunting, conservation, and how hunting bears over bait has actually caused the bear hunting population to thrive and grow over the past 40 plus years. I know the next time there's a bear down, I will be better prepared, and I hope after watching this video, you will be too. It can be intimidating taking on a challenge like this, but hopefully this will take some of the mystery out of the process and give you the confidence that you need to tackle this in the field on your own. I know you just watched him skin out the front paw, but a little repetition never hurts. So let's move from the front paw to the back paw. You will see the shape of the foot is different, but the process is pretty much identical, as Cody makes a clean cut right along the edge of the pad on the bottom of the foot and begins removing the hide, working his way around the foot first before moving to the individual toes. One thing I failed to capture in the skinning process was removing the hide from the head. The good news is this is more familiar for a lot of hunters, as it is a very similar process to what you would do with a deer or elk, with one major difference. With deer and elk, you make your cut on the top along the spine. You make your Y cut around the antlers, then you peel everything forward from the ears to the nose. You do this because on a deer or elk mount, you hide the stitching line on the back of the head and let it run down the spine where the hide is thick and people are less likely to see it. With a bear rug, the top of the head and spine are the most visible, so you make your center cut under the chin and then peel around the mouth, ears, eyes, and nose with care as you remove the hide from the skull. When you're done with this process, be sure to flip the ears inside out, spray your hide lock on the flesh side, not the first side, then let the spray dry before salting and laying out to dry. If you plan to ship it out for a professional tanning, you may want to place the hide in a freezer to keep hair from slipping and bacteria from growing. Just like the old saying, there is more than one way to skin a cat, I'm sure there is more than one way to skin a bear. If you're a bear skinning pro and have your own process, feel free to share some of your tricks and tips below. Thanks for watching. I hope you like and leave a comment on the video and subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in being a part of a community of hunters committed to conservation, learning, and helping others succeed, I want to invite you to join the Hunt League community. Simply download the Hunt League mobile app and start logging and sharing the story of your hunt. The app works like a digital hunting journal in the field. Join leagues like the Apex Predator, the Western Hunter, the Wild Food, or the Outdoorsman of the Year, and connect with other hunters that share your passion. Check it out inside the Hunt League app, where you can compete for league titles and incredible prize packages. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.